Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, August 14th. Well, here we are, one whole week since Diane's murder, and I don't feel like I know anything more than I did last week. At this time, it's still a giant question mark, a giant cloud of question marks hanging over Genoa City, hanging over me, and we have a few new clues, but I'm still lost. I think the biggest clue that has come out of this past week is the fact that Deacon has been seen sleazing around on the scene. Of course, he's been nowhere for like the last 2 weeks, and now suddenly he was at the park on the night of Diane's death. What do you know? And apparently, he saw Phyllis there too, which I was not expecting, and he's pretty much been following her around town all week, tormenting her, saying things to her like, "I saw what you did," just creepily. And he also made some kind of comment to her about them being behind the alley at Glowworm together. Did Deacon and Phyllis have sex back in the day? And if so, why don't I remember? Why have I erased that from my mind? I guess if they did have sex, then that must have been back in the days before this unfortunate hairstyle of his. Back when I found him attractive. I can't believe that those days ever existed. But he's been, torturing Phyllis, acting like he, knows what she did. I know what you did last summer kind of vibe. And he's also been dropping little hints to Abby, just little reminders that he saw her and he make her confession at Glowworm, and he remembers it quite well. I think just trying to, needle her a little bit. And, at the time, I really couldn't wrap my brain around why exactly Deacon sold that video footage to Diane for only $100. But now I'm kind of wondering if maybe Deacon was kind of planning this all along. I'm wondering if he was more interested in seeing revenge on all of his enemies in Genoa City than he was in making money, because he easily could have killed Diane. I'm not saying that's what I think happened, but he could have killed her, knowing that there were so many suspects, all of whom he happens to hate, and he has very personal reasons for wanting to see them go down. And I can almost see him doing it just to watch all of his enemies squirm. That seemed to be the one thing that Deacon and Diane always had in common. So there's that, and then right now, Ashley and Nick are squirming around a lot too, and I wonder what role exactly Deacon is playing in that. I have a correction, first of all, to make from last week. I was a little bit confused. I guess I misinterpreted the scene with Nick and Ashley's phone. So just to clarify, Ashley dropped her phone at the park when she was meeting Diane, and when Nick and Diane were struggling, it was Nick's phone that dialed Ashley. I thought it was Diane. I don't know why, but it was Nick's phone that dialed Ashley on accident, and his threats toward Diane, saying that he was, he would kill her before he would let her continue messing with his family, those were all caught on Ashley's voicemail. But now, since Ashley's phone is MIA, Nick has started to get these harassing phone calls. Someone has Ashley's phone, and they're calling Nick's cell phone now, playing his message to Diane, this threat that he made to Diane over and over on his phone, just to let him know that they have it. So Nick has confided this information to Ashley because it's her phone, it's out there. whoever the killer is might be the one who has this phone, and they're just, kind of dangling it. He's dangling this information over their heads. Nick confides in Ashley. They've been very close this week because they're both in hot water. They're both in very similar situations. They both denied being anywhere near the park. Ashley, if they find out that that's her phone and she dropped it there at the park, I mean, come on, it puts her at the scene of the crime. And then Nick, of course, has this incriminating conversation that he had with Diane right before her death. He also denied being at the park. So they're kind of thrown together in this situation. And by the way, Phyllis keeps walking in on Ashley and Nick having these super secret conversations, and she might need to start planning for getting her next manicure, because she seriously looks like she wants to tear Ashley's hair out. Or at the very least, she's very curious about what the heck is going on between Nick and Ashley, because Phyllis and Nick are not talking about that night at all. As far as they're both concerned, they neither one of them has confessed that the other one was actually at the park. So, Phyllis is being pressured by the DA, and Nick is really, really close to getting pressured by the DA, and or not the DA, by our FBI, our favorite FBI agent. So, it's kind of this big question mark between Nick and Phyllis also. So It's interesting. It's definitely a new piece to the puzzle. Somebody's got Ashley's phone. I don't know who it is, but they're realizing that they're in a position of power, and they're certainly willing to let Nick know about it. And if Deacon was hanging out at the park enough to see Phyllis that night, I certainly wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was him who had Ashley's phone and was calling Nick and kind of letting him know that he has this evidence. We also found out this week, actually, that someone stole or got rid of the park camera that at least Ashley was caught on. It seems like there were some surveillance cameras in the park that we know for a fact caught Ashley on camera, possibly caught everybody who was there, possibly caught the whole thing on camera, but that camera is missing, which also could be some of Deacon's handiwork. And if that's the truth, then he has certainly got a piece of blackmail working for him that's worth a whole lot more than $100. Adam is still not off the hook. Ronan is suspicious of him big time for in his murder investigation. In fact, Ronan paid a little visit to Adam this week in his hotel room, and I was loving every minute of it, let me tell you. Adam versus Ronan, it was dreamy. Just dreamy. It's like two of the cockiest guys in Genoa City going head to head in a contest to see who can be the most smug. And that's exactly what it was like. It was like just them exchanging little quips back and forth, and it was beautiful. Let me tell you, if you missed that, I'm really sorry, because it was great. Ronan thought that he had Adam over a barrel. He pretty much thought that Adam was the killer, and he was getting ready to bring him in. Specifically because Ronan has discovered that on Diane's body there was an imprint of a Harvard class ring, and it was kind of all amongst her mangled, bruised arm. And everybody knows that Adam is our resident, recent Harvard graduate, but after Ronan realizes that the forensics on Adam's ring just don't match up, they're not consistent with the bruise on Diane's body, Ronan had to kind of start looking elsewhere at other Harvard graduates who happened to be in the area, and we've known all along that ring print was Jack's, who actually gave Diane's arm a pretty good twisting during their argument on the bridge. So we knew the whole time that it was Jack's ring. So Ronan goes right to Jack's house, of course, where Jack and his son are grieving over Kyle's just lost his mother, and Ronan goes busting up in Jack's house, and Ronan I love him, but he made the mistake of treating Kyle like he was just some other dumbass kid in Genoa City. And he is not. Ronan and Jack tell Kyle to, go upstairs and, while they talk, go up and do his thing. But Kyle, being the little genius that he is, kind of hangs out on the stairs while Jack and Ronan are having this conversation, and he listens in. And Ronan tells Jack that he wants to do some tests on his ring, and his tone is very accusatory, and Jack has already had a conversation with Kyle, letting him know that Jack is actually a suspect, but, looking at him unequivocally and saying, "I would never hurt your mother." And so as Ronan is having this conversation with Jack, trying to get him to turn over his ring as evidence, Jack's kind of trying to reel out of it, and all the while, unbeknownst to us, Kyle is upstairs swiping the ring. This kid is great, I'm telling you. He just lost his mother, and he's not planning to lose his father too. But he might not have a choice in the matter, because just days after Diane's death, Victor decides it's time to break the news to Jack that Diane has signed over custody of their son to Victor. Just days before she kicked the bucket, by the way. It was only a couple of days before. I'm so disappointed in Victor. It's just, come on, Victor. Have a heart. Can you just have a heart for a minute? Oh yeah, you do have a heart. As a matter of fact, it's Jack's niece's heart. So, do you think maybe you could back off just a little bit, even just for a couple more days? I feel like the whole custody thing is absurd. I don't know how Diane was able to sign away Jack's parental rights in the first place anyway. I don't remember her ever filing for full custody. Did Diane have full custody of Kyle in the first place? I don't know. I feel like it's absurd that whole thing happened in the first place. And it's absurd that Victor is pursuing it in such a gallant way, as if he's doing what was best by Diane. He's doing what the mother wanted. And he actually said to Jack, you know as well as I do, that Diane wanted me to be his father in the first place. And so that somehow erases the fact that Jack actually is his father, and therefore Victor should have custody. Ridiculous. Not to mention, Kyle and Jack clearly need each other right now. Any idiot can see that father and son need to be together right now. And the scene between Jack and Kyle, when Jack had to tell his son that his mother was not only dead, but brutally murdered, it was so sad, and I felt so terrible for Kyle. It was such a tender moment. And again, I really like this child actor. And that is, I never say that. If you've heard me talk at any length of time, you know that I usually don't like the child actors at all. But I really like this kid. And the last time I cared about a child actor actually was Cassie. So I'll be surprised if YNR doesn't decide to just whack him in a tragic car accident too. I honestly can't believe that we went through all of this with Tucker and Ashley and the car accident and Ashley in jail and Abby's confession and rehab just to end up here. Ashley totally dumped Tucker. And she has a right to be furious with him. Sleeping with Diane was bad enough, but it's the lie that's the biggest problem. That particular lie set this entire chain of events into motion. But I also really like Tucker and Ashley together. So I can't help but feel sad that they're apart. And it's hard watching Tucker practically begging Ashley to come back to him every spare moment that he has. In between putting salve, pouring salve, practically bottles of it, over his severe outbreak of poison sumac that he got from getting knocked down in the park by Diane. And surely that is going to be biting him in the butt any day now. So he's got issues. And I honestly think that rash must have gone to his head because he called Abby into his office this week. This was good. And he actually stooped to, get this, threatening her. He actually did this. He called her into his office. He told her everything, that she was completely right about the fact that he had slept with Diane. And then he actually said to her, you know, I saw your confession videotape, and I kept that a secret for you. I sure hope that I can continue to keep that a secret for you. Are you kidding me? Like, you're blackmailing her, essentially. You're implying that if she doesn't help him get Ashley back, that he would just blow her cover? Is this the kind of man we're dealing with? Please, it's getting harder and harder to defend him when all he does is act like a jerk. So it's a good thing that I still do feel sorry for what his mother is doing to him, because at this point, it's like the only bigger jerk than Tucker is his mother, Katherine. She is moving full speed ahead with her, as if McCall Unlimited were her own company, and she could just do with it as she wished. And she has concocted this plan to buy Jabot from McCall with Chancellor Industries money. And she thinks, in her head, that since she's overpaying for it, probably paying double what it's worth right now, that she's not going to get in trouble for it. Of course not. I mean, give me a break. At this point, I can't even watch it. It's like, it kills me to even watch it. She's blatantly using her position at McCall for the benefit of her own company. How can that be legal? I don't even understand how she thinks she's going to get away with it. It certainly isn't in Tucker's company's best interest. And if she uses that excuse one more time, I'm going to scream. Because suddenly, Katherine is doing a lot of things for Tucker's sake and in the best interest of his company. And it's all a lie. It's all a lie. She's conspiring with Jack to buy back Jabot after she had that whole epiphany in the when Tucker was in the hospital, when John came to visit her, where she realized exactly how that's not what Tucker would want her to do. Now she's just going back on that. It's ridiculous. It's transparent. Everyone can see right through it. And Ashley actually paid a visit to Katherine this week. And she told Katherine that she would sign off on her an insane annulment if Katherine would agree to just give Tucker his company back. Ashley is furious with Tucker, yet even she can see that his company is better off in the hands of a half brain-dead man than with his self-serving mother. Okay, let's lighten things up, shall we? And let's talk a bit about how insanely sexy Ronan is. I did some Googling of Jeff Branson this week, and let me tell you, it is astonishing. I actually prefer him now, like how he looks now at 34. He's 34, so which, by the way, means he's the perfect age for me. Why can't he be my husband? But I actually prefer him now than 5 or 10 years ago. Some of the pictures of when he was younger, he just kind of looks like a jerk. I don't know, just he's too pretty or something. And even when he was on the show earlier this year, I didn't have this strong of a reaction to him. And I think it was partly because his hair was all buzzed short and it was just not appealing. But now his hair is just right. And he's matured. His face is like chiseled out of stone. He's got that jawline. It's just, he looks like he's been chiseled out of stone. I'm pretty sure probably the rest of his body looks like it's been chiseled out of stone. But the thing that gets me most, the thing that just really gets me going about him, is his voice. His voice is so deep, and it's so smooth. It's so deep and so smooth, and he has got to be hung like a horse. Like a horse. Because no man with that deep, smooth voice who walks around with that confident stride. I mean, when he walks into a room, it's pure confidence. He's not even putting on any airs. It's just like he knows he's good. And I'm telling you, no man with all of those qualities can possibly have a shortcoming in that department, in the southern region. Am I wrong? Because I don't think so. I don't think so. I have literally not felt this way about a Y&R actor since Kane. And I'm not even sure I felt this strongly about Kane. It is getting me through some stuff. Just let me say that. I've had kind of a weird week, and Ronan is getting me through. He's getting me through. And honestly, I'm finding myself way more riveted in the Diane's death storyline simply because he's in it. I think I would be way irritated with this whole thing if it weren't for Ronan, but I just hope we're speeding quickly toward seeing some shirtless scenes with him. I want to get him out of the Diane murder mystery and into some shirtless scenes, Y&R. I need you to help me out with this, Y&R. Just get his shirt off soon. I don't care if it's just a shower. But good God, disrobe this man with anybody but Heather. I want to see him with anybody but Heather. Anybody. Because every scene that he's in, I am imagining him shirtless. I'm like, every time he's going to interrogate somebody, or every time he runs into someone in Genoa City, I want him to have sex with that person immediately. Like, literally, Chloe, Phyllis, even Katherine, Adam, I don't care. Well, we might just be getting our wish for a Chloe-Ronan reunion sooner rather than later, because Chloe and Kevin are splitsville this week, and I really do feel bad about that, because I think they were so cute together, but they were just never able to make it work. It was constant fighting, and not to mention, I just feel like Chloe and Kevin were never really able to make it past the puppy love stage. I mean, they really should have remained friends or just have stayed friends. But Kevin is such a great guy, you know, and he's so good for her in so many ways. He stabilizes her in so many ways. But Chloe has this thing for the bad boys, which I can relate to. But the same thing happened with Chance. True, Chance screwed up. Chance slept with Heather. Blech. But still, she could have had him back. And she pushed him away long before that happened. Chloe didn't want the good guy. She didn't want the stable guy. You know, she always wants to go for the bad guys. Actually, Esther made an excellent point this week. And by the way, it's like once every several years that I can make that statement. Esther made a good point this week. She actually said to her, "Are you just addicted to the fireworks and the drama? Is that what it is? Because you don't seem to just want to be satisfied. It's like the good guys always finish last in her book, and she was practically pushing Kevin to leave this week. And he did. And I was really sad. I felt really bad for Kevin. But then Chloe ran into Ronan and things changed for me. I am torn about this because before I get all caught up in Chloe and Ronan, we can't forget, you guys, he did her wrong. He dogged her. And we cannot just let him get away with that just because he's incredibly, absurdly sexy. He basically lured her in with his sex wolf ways, and then he had sex with her, and then he tossed her aside. He left her lying there. He used her up and then just tossed her away. That is the truth. That's exactly what happened. And yet, the funny thing was, when Ronan first ran into her at the coffee house, his face lit up. Like, he was genuinely happy to see her, which totally surprised me. He had the biggest smile on his face that he's had since he's gotten back into town. Like, he just kind of reached out to her like, hey, in that voice, hey, you know, but I can't imagine that he thought that she was just going to greet him with open arms. So I don't know what happened there. Chloe, of course, basically just told him to take a hike, but you could tell that she was taken aback. You know, I mean, I'm sure that had to have been sitting subconsciously in the back of her mind as she's pushing Kevin away. I mean, because there he is. But then later, someone broke into Chloe's car, and so she runs into the coffee house and starts, you know, calling for the police. And Ronan's like, the police are here. I'm here. I'm here for you, Chloe. And he wants to help her. I mean, he's FBI. He's FBI, and he told the GCPD to make her issue a top priority. Her things stolen from her car, some dresses stolen from her car. And I think that says something. That says something about how he feels about her. He's clearly still into her, but I swear to you guys, if they do a Ronan, Heather, Chloe triangle, I will be so mad. I will be furious. Please, YNR, please don't ruin Ronan by trying to pair him with Heather. My fist is clenched right now. That is how angry I am. Please don't do it. I beg. Do not do that to me, okay? Heather has not been around for a while. It has been bliss, and I don't want her to come back now and ruin my Ronan. You know, it's Ronan is, he's a lot of things. He's a mixed bag. It's too bad that he was all happy and all smiles to see Chloe, and yet he could not be anywhere near as giving with Nina. Nina finally saw him for the first time in a long time at the police station. She walks into the police station and she was so happy to see him at first. She looked at him the way he looked at Chloe, as if no time had passed, nothing had happened. She was ready to welcome him with open arms. Not an ounce of resentment for this woman, just this motherly instinct, not an ounce of resentment, until she realized the score. Until Ronan basically spat in her face, telling her, essentially, I don't owe you an explanation. I don't owe you anything. I don't even consider you my mother. Just real evil, like, just real cold, just real cruel. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What is up with you, Ronan? Why did you take Chance's liver and then run away and leave me? Genevieve and Colin are still slinking around Genoa City. They're both so similar. I don't know why they don't just get back together, but they both have slightly different agendas. Genevieve followed Victor to the athletic club this week to pant over him hitting on the heavy bag. He was doing the wah-wahs. and Genevieve was practically drooling over him. So, are we working toward a Victor, Genevieve, Jack triangle? Is that where we're going, you guys? I guess that'll just be one more thing for Jack and Victor to fight over. Except I don't even feel like Genevieve is Victor's type. I feel like if he is gonna want her, it's just gonna be so that Jack can't have her, because I don't know. She just doesn't seem his type, and I'm honestly surprised that he couldn't smell opportunist from a mile away. I mean, she totally has that vibe. I mean, he found out later from Victoria that Victoria told her where he was. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. You know, and I have to say, it was kind of nice to see Victor in a new romantic relationship. Even if I don't want it to ultimately work out, it was like him teaching her how to box was kind of cute. I can't deny. You know, it was kind of cute. And she's gonna need those skills when Nikki comes back into town, because meow, those girls are gonna be fighting it out. Now, Colin was actually really lucky this week. Jill has been running around Genoa City, upset over the fact that Billy left town, and Colin sees her sitting in the dining room crying alone, and so he approaches her, and Jill gave him an inch, and he took a mile, and they ended up in an embrace. You know, I feel sorry for Jill. I always have. What can she do? What could she do? She was at a weak point. She was all alone. She needed a friend. I just don't understand why it needs to be him. Colin is such an elf. I want you to picture it. Colin is a total elf. He looks like he should be wearing an elf uniform and putting together toys at the North Pole. So Lily and Daniel are practically back together now. I don't know when that happened. They shared this smooch at the coffee house this week, and it was so natural. It was just like effortless. It was not awkward in the least, the way it was at first. But I still can't help but feel that this relationship is happening on the rebound. I mean, I acknowledge that they have chemistry together. They definitely do, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea. First of all, the last thing that Daniel wants, as he's made abundantly clear, is to be a father, and he's getting involved with a woman who has 2 kids. And Lily, try as she might, she's still not over Kane. I know she says that she's over Kane, and she went to see him this week and to tell him that she was filing for divorce, but I feel like she's only doing it because that's what she thinks she has to do. You know, she thinks it's time. You know, she thinks that's the next logical step for her, and I don't think it's what she really wants. And with everything that she's been through, thinking that her husband was dead, realizing that he lied to her, I just don't think that she's in any position to start things up with Daniel right now, and I worry that one of them is just going to end up hurt. So, by the way, what happened to Daniel's eye? Did he get into a fight? Because he had this cut, like a circle cut, just right below his eye, kind of on his upper cheek, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I spaced out. Did I miss something? Okay, well, those are my thoughts for this week, so it's time for you to tell me what your thoughts are. There's a lot going on. There's plenty of space. There's a big old text box right below this video where you can leave all of your thoughts for this week. If they don't fit in one comment box, make 2 comment boxes. I love hearing from you. I'm always curious to know what you're thinking. I mean, I've seen a lot of theories this week about Diane's death. I just saw a theory too that Michael killed Diane. So I was kind of keeping that in my mind this week as I was watching the show, which to me it doesn't jump out at me as being obvious because Michael tried to help her. He tried to get her out of town. I don't know if he would viciously kill her. It's possible he saw what happened. I mean, certainly he was the only one that had any amount of remorse over her death. So I thought that was an interesting theory. And I'm listening to all of them. I mean, everything you guys say, I totally think about it and I, incorporate it. And I'm keeping it in my mind as I'm watching the show. Because I love you and I love hearing from you, and your perspectives are always entertaining and valuable to me. So leave them. Let me know what you're thinking. Let's see. I haven't given my website in a while. If you want to friend me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter or check out my blog, you can go to my website at yrchatblog.blogspot.com. You can find all of my links there. Definitely find me on Facebook or Twitter because I've been enjoying using those and connecting throughout the week with you guys on those sites. So that's a cool thing for me. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Don't forget to share this video. By the way, if you're involved in any other Y&R communities and you want to just pass the word along, if you like what I'm doing, definitely spread the word, and maybe some other folks will like it too, and maybe we can continue to build our community and get some more cool people involved. That definitely means a lot to me. All right. Wow. I love you guys so much, and I hope that you are enjoying the show, and I hope that you have a fantastic week next week. I'll be thinking of you, and I hope you have a really good night tonight, because I know I will. I'm going to be having visions of shirtless Ronans dancing in my head as I drift off to dreamland tonight, and I wish that for you as well. Mwah. Bye.